Welcome to this first tutorial of three. Each one is going to look at the three areas that form the little sight reading app which you can find on my website, which relate very much to my new book, How to Sight Read. And the first one we're going to talk about today is brain processing speed, which is really you look, you see the patterns, you absorb those patterns, you process them, and then you do what they say. You play the music or you sing it. And there is no doubt, I'm absolutely sure that I can guarantee this, that you can improve this ability. It's part of what I call one of the techniques of sight reading, and the book itself lists 9 of them. This is one of them. Each of the 9 techniques are developmental. You can work at them each on their own, put them all together, and you just sight read. So this is on brain processing speed, seeing patterns, processing them, and then playing them more quickly. And if you work at this app in a fairly systematic kind of way over a period of time, you will undoubtedly improve this. So what I'm going to do now is, first of all, just give you a few indications on how good you can actually get on this. Then I can show you how to use the app.
Without going into too much detail, there is quite a bit in the book. Let's just have a think about just how much the brain can receive in a very short space of time. Eye action, eye movement, is actually called saccadic movement. We move our eyes probably maybe 4 times a second. And each time we come to the end of a movement, we stop and we just look at that thing for a split second, maybe a quarter of a second. Saccadic movement is split into then what we call fixations. And each of these little fixations can take in really quite a lot of information. So I'm going to display very briefly, first of all, some little phrases, and then just one musical phrase at the end. And you'll only see it for just a split second, but you'll be surprised. Here's the first one. Well, that was just 3 words, but it was only on the screen for maybe a quarter of a second. Here's the next one. That was really quite a lot longer. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. That was 8 words. And again, it was maybe half a second. And the third one. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. That's 11 words. And again, you just caught that. I mean, they're well-known phrases, of course, but you were able to process those considerable number of words in a very tiny amount of time. Here's one more. So obviously that was a G major scale, 8 notes, but I reckon that you probably got the rhythm as well. So, and it was on the screen there for, I think, about 0.6 of a second. So you really did process, you absorbed and processed really a lot of information very quickly. So this is how actually to use the brain processing speed part of this app. There are 2 ways you can actually use these exercises. One is to set up, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment, to set up these examples. And then as it displays them to you, you simply recall the exercise after you've seen it in your mind's eye, in effect putting it into your short-term memory, and then compare it with what you see when it reappears, or indeed process the music and immediately play it or sing it. Which develops what's called the eye-hand span, or indeed the eye-voice span. And you will see how you can just improve this over a period of time. Anyway, let's now have a look when we go into this particular bit here. And you just choose. So at the start of your journey, you want to do something really simple. Decide what you think is appropriate. The key, first of all, let's go maybe to F major. Then click back. F major, we've decided you can actually do F minor if you want to, but I'm going to stick with major. Clef, I'm going to stick with treble, but all the other clefs are there. The meter, let's stick with 4/4, but most other meters, let's just have a look, actually, and the other basic meters are there if you want. Back here. And now we generate our rhythm. So I'm going to generate just 1 bar, and by using these rhythmic icons here, I can generate whatever rhythm I like. and it will show you the rhythm. So I'm going to have 2 crotchets, 2 quavers, and another crotchet. And I can create anything up to 4 bars with whatever complexity I like. But this is what I'm going to do to begin, because I think this is where I am really. Then I decide how much time do I want to see each example, and I can go from 4 seconds down to 0.1 of a second. And each time I do it, I'm going to make the challenge a bit more, but maybe I'm going to say 1.5 seconds, which I think it's set at the moment. Then my countdown, and I'm going to have the countdown at crotchet equals, let's make it a little bit slower. So as with this minus button here, we're going to go down to maybe crotchet equals 90. So I'm going to stick at 90. It can either be hands-free, or I can get the computer, which means the computer will do create the next one at appropriate intervals, or I can click the next one when I'm ready. I'm going to do hands-free, so I click this little button here, and it asks me how much before I see the actual example and how much time before I see the next one, and the default is 5 seconds. So that's how you set it up, and I'm now going to press go, and this is what happens. I'm watching the dot, I press ready, two bars in, there's the example. It was 1.5 of a second. I now try to play it, and it shows it to me again 5 seconds later, and because it's hands-free, it'll next go straight on to the next one. And it will just make up an infinite number of these kind of exercises. It'll just go on forever and ever and ever. And if you feel they're just a bit too complicated, the rhythm's too complicated, or you want a bit more time, then you just change it, and you just play the game. And once you feel comfortable here, tomorrow or next week, I might reduce the time by 0.1 of a second, or I might put an extra note in the rhythm, or I might put another bar in with one note in the next bar. That's how it works. And over a period of time, you get better.